everyone. Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Band, our weekly podcast. So, today again, I have Nash Akthar with me, who is a professional IELTS trainer and a former IELTS representative. I am Margo, a professional IELTS trainer and co founder of Master Exams. And in this episode, we'll be focusing on IELTS reading. We'll be talking about its structure, some challenges students face while preparing for it. And so Nash, why don't you start by telling us some basics about this exam for students who still don't have any idea about what they're going to face?
Okay, so Margo, thank you very much. Hey there, everyone. Nash Akthar here. So yeah, if you speak about IELTS, there are 4 sections. We have listening, reading, writing, and speaking. Today we're going to focus on reading. So it's going to be the second section soon after listening, and it's going to be for 60 minutes. So it doesn't matter whether you're taking academic IELTS, general IELTS, UKVI, it's going to be for 1 hour. Now, if you're taking academic IELTS, you will have 3 passages. And for every passage, you will have 13 to 14 questions. And if you're taking general IELTS, you're going to have 3 sections. And for the first 2 sections, you're going to have 2 small text. So it could be like a paper ad, like a notice, and so on. But I guess, Margo, we will discuss that in detail a bit later, right? Or do you want me to speak about it now?
Could you just briefly tell us what is the difference between academic reading and general training?
Yeah, so basically, like I said, it's going to be for 1 hour. Now, if you take academic IELTS, you're going to have academic text. Now, it could be like, something scientific, maybe something related to history, and it's going to be a bit more advanced. If you look at general reading, it's going to be easier. So, the text is not that long for the first 2 sections, and I think it's going to be easier for them to find answers. But the question types are the same. So, for example, they'll have true, false, not given, summary completion, finding information from the paragraph, and so on. And for the third section, for general reading, they're going to have one long text. So it's a bit similar to academic reading. So that's why to achieve a band 7 for academic reading, they can make 10 mistakes. If you reach 30 out of 40, it's going to be a band 7. But if you want to achieve a 7 in general reading, then you can make only 7 mistakes. So what I can say is that the marking system is a bit more strict with general reading because it's easier. Whereas for academic reading, I would say they're kind of lenient because, even if you achieve 39 out of 40, it's already a band 9 for academic reading.
Mm-hmm. So, what are the skills that candidates need to do well in IELTS reading?
Yeah, that's a very good question because quite often students think like it's just reading, like you read the whole text and you need to find answers for the questions. But actually, before you prepare for the reading section, it's very important to master 5 skills. The most important skill is to read questions and understand or identify keywords. Now, keywords are, let's say, words which are important for us to understand the question, which is pretty obvious. So these are adjectives, adverbs, verbs, and the subject. So you really need to pay attention to keywords if you want to find the answer or to find the correct answer. That's the first skill. The second skill is paraphrasing. So let's say in a sentence completion, you predict the missing word, and also in that particular sentence, you might find verbs and adjectives. So it's better to think about synonyms because when you read the text, it's going to be presented in a different way. So that's the second skill you need to master. The third skill is scanning because you don't have to read the whole text. So if there are names like or dates or like years, like what happened in 1980, so you don't have to read the whole text. You scan for 1980, right? So that's the skill that you need to master. Then skimming. Skimming means, to read quickly and understand the general idea. Now, how to skim? I would say it's a bit controversial because there are so many YouTube videos and, they all have different methods. But I would say, you read the first sentence to get a general idea and the last 2 sentences. And I know, Margo, you're very good at it because, you've been always great explaining the question type matching headings. I mean, students, they really loved it. So yeah, so skimming. The main idea is to read quickly, not to read the whole text, but to read in a way to get a general idea. Now that's skimming. And then finally, predicting the missing word, right? Because we have summary completion, sentence completion. You need to kind of, even complete a process based on the text. So here you need to predict the missing word. What kind of word is missing? Whether it's a noun, whether it's a verb, whether it's an adjective or an adverb. So it's very important to master these skills in order to achieve a very high score. And I can also say, if you can master these skills at the beginning, then you can work your way towards achieving a very high score in IELTS. We've seen that. We've seen students achieving a band 9, and I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, all the points that you mentioned, I think they're very useful and they're really essential to know if you're preparing for IELTS, because so many students, they just go with the idea that they need to know as many words as they can so that they can understand every single of those complicated specific words that you get in IELTS reading. But that's actually a very common mistake in preparing. Yeah, I think you'd agree with me. What other mistakes are there that students make while preparing?
Well, I would say, first of all, they are disorganized with their preparation. So let's say, they might do a bit of reading today, and that could be less true, false, not given. Then next day, it could be like matching headings. My first advice would be to understand the format, become familiar with the question types, and master the essential skills, because that's important. Number two, uh, some students, they start with practice test. Now that could break their confidence because they don't know the approach, so they just try to find answers for the question type, let's say true, false, not given, or matching headings. And that's a very, I would say it's a dangerous step, because if you make mistakes, that's going to break your confidence. And I've seen students struggle. So I believe that that's the biggest mistake, to start with practice test. Then, of course, they don't analyze their progress. Now, let's say you did a complete test, okay, you made 15 mistakes, and then again, they do another complete practice test. So you will not make progress, right? So you need to understand, where did you go wrong? Which question type? Maybe you made too many mistakes with true, false, not given. Maybe with multiple choice questions, right? So you need to analyze, work on that particular question type, minimize the mistakes, then do a complete practice test. This way, I'm sure it's pretty obvious, you're going to make less mistakes, you're going to move forward. So this is where students struggle. So they either overgeneralize the whole issue. So they need to understand why it's happening, what is the biggest challenge, whether they're implementing the essential skills properly. So that's a very important thing, Margo.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, like many other exams, there's now a computer-based version available, right? For those who want to take IELTS. How do you think that it's become more convenient to do IELTS reading with the computer-based version?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And if you take some countries, they only have the computer format.
Mm.
If you take, maybe I could be wrong, and our viewers should correct me. So I guess in Uzbekistan now, they only have the computer format. So some students, they think it has become more challenging. But my point is that no, it has become really convenient. You don't have to flip pages. You have the text on the left side, the questions on the right side. You can highlight. You just need to scroll up and down. And, for every question type, you have the relevant text. So it's really convenient. And I think that before you take the real exam, you need to uh, access all these official platforms like from IDP, and and get familiar with the overall format. And I think it's going to be easier for you all. But answering your question, Margot, I would say the question types are the same with the computer-based test.
Mm.
The approach is the same. It has become more convenient. And I think if you get the opportunity to choose, then you should definitely go with the computer format.
But have they exam format or maybe the types of task become different over the past years? Like, is it important to only go for the newest materials to prepare?
Well, I wouldn't say so. No, that's a very good question. I wouldn't say so. Now, if you look at IELTS reading, academic reading, you have three passages. And for the first passage, usually you get true, false, not given, summary completion. With the second passage, you will face matching headings, and maybe you might have true, false, not given, and multiple choice questions. And for the third passage, you will have multiple choice questions, summary completion based on words given in a box, and then yes, no, not given. The question types have been the same. They haven't made dramatic changes, I would say. And if you go back to Cambridge IELTS 15, 14, 13, all these practice test books, you will see the same question types. Now, that's why I would say IELTS at the moment is the only exam that hasn't changed much, that hasn't evolved. Whereas, very soon, TOEFL is going to introduce a new format. No one knows how it's going to be. So I think nothing has changed much. So that's why it's very important to master these essential skills, understand the format, become familiar with every question type. That's the most important thing, Margo. And I guess if IELTS trainers are watching, that would be my advice. If you're a private tutor, if you're preparing your student, don't just print materials and do reading with them, right? So understand the format. If you're preparing a student, you need to teach them how to deal with all the common question types, starting with true, false, not given, matching headings, multiple choice questions, summary completion based on words given in a box, yes, no, not given, and so on, right? Then finding information from the paragraph. So if you are preparing a student and if you want your student to achieve a very high score, that would be the correct approach.
How achievable is the highest score in IELTS reading? Like, can you get a 9 after a month of preparation, let's say?
Well, you know that we have been preparing students for more than 10 years together with you, and we have so many students with a B2 level achieved a band 9. Now, it's not that we're trying to show off. I think I would ask our team to share the results now. So, we've had so many students, both students from Eastern European countries and also from Southeast Asia. They all achieved band 9s on their first attempt. So the thing is, it's all about your exposure. If you are an avid reader or if you read because of your job and so on, that's going to be an advantage. So exposure matters. And then, like I said, you just need to understand these skills. And that's not going to take a lot of time. You just need to become familiar with the format and the question types. And this way, you can achieve a very high score.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Nash. One more thing I would like to emphasize is that, yes, like if we're talking about IELTS academic reading, candidates will face a variety of very complicated, very unfamiliar topics, and with lots of specific vocabulary. But the whole point is that you should not get scared when you face some words that you don't know, even if you feel like there are so many of them. It's not about understanding every single word. You simply don't even have enough time to read every single word in all three texts. The techniques that Nash mentioned are really the key to mastering this section of the exam, and you can really achieve the highest score. Like just understanding what is required for effective reading in order to find some specific information on the main ideas and so on. Reading every single and understanding every single word is really not the most important thing here. Yeah. So, well, I suppose we've covered many important points today. Nash, what do you say?
Yeah, we did. So, I keep saying, guys, if you want us to cover a particular topic, please mention that, leave it in the comment section. And I think with Margo, we're more than happy to discuss it. So, yeah, I guess that's it for today, right, Margo?
That's it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And yeah, until next time,
Yeah, until next time.
take care. Bye.